Hey everybody, welcome back to the Firefighters Podcast. Now today's a bit of a different episode. We received a lot of messages at the Firefighters Podcast, and a recent one came in asking about how can we represent the heroes of our community, and we haven't yet had a member of our military personnel on. Now, always one for inclusivity, I got on the phone to my good friend Ryan, who is an ex-Marine commando and bare knuckle boxer. Now, when people ask me about Ryan, he is the UK's answer to David Goggins in my book. He is a disciplined, quirky, crazy, driven, intense, passionate, and since getting to know more about him, an incredibly humble and inspiring dude. On today's episode, Ryan shares with us some of the training that he's gone through in the military, talks about being bullied as a child and the effect this had on him as he grew up. But the biggest takeaways for me with Ryan's conversation was that relentless mindset and learning to channel his energy. A big thanks once again to our long-term sponsor, William Wood Watches, who bring us, of course, our Chivalrous Collection, Bronze Edition, Valiant Collection, and coming to 2021 from the 1st of March is their new Triumph Collection. William Wood Watches is a UK-based watch manufacturer where upcycling is taken to a whole new level. William Wood are all about history on your wrist and feeling the beat of the fire service with you every step of the way. William Wood Watches has the vision to be the leading sustainable watch brand that upcycles rescue service materials for a new life, once forgotten, now reborn. Johnny and the incredible team have reached over 1,000 customers in 43 countries worldwide, making this one of the most unique brands for supporting fire service frontline workers. They've been in GQ magazine, the best men's watches to buy in 2020. So get over, have a look, get yourself registered, and check out some of the incredible stuff at williamwoodwatches.com. So I hope you enjoyed today's episode. It's a curveball that comes from our military personnel and armed forces, who I, for one, am eternally grateful for what they do for our country and our communities, keeping us safe. Thanks once again for coming back to the Firefighters Podcast. This really is an interesting one. We kick straight off with it in there with Ryan. So listen in, brace yourself for some crazy stories, and I will see you on the other side. I wanted to get you on and ask you predominantly, about all of the fight prep. We had all the Marine stuff. A lot of it seemed like it came from sort of the mindset you got from the time of your grandma.
Yeah, that's pretty much where everything's come from, mate. Just to keep going, basically. That's my blueprint for success, really. Just don't give in. And eventually you'll get there. And that's kind of been the way that I've had to do everything. Kind of just keep going, keep plugging away. Eventually I've gained the character or characteristics or whatever it is I've needed to succeed at whatever task it is that I've chose that I wanted to undertake.
We talk about that blueprint though, because a lot of people know you for your boxing. Then where did it first start when you started doing boxing?
Well, my dad was a boxer, so dad was in the Merchant Navy and was known locally for being a good boxer, so that's always something that I've always wanted to do. So we had all the boxing equipment in our garage, so we used to have like one glove on.
Yeah.
All the
taking lumps out of each other.
Come around and my dad let us tear in. He'd always make sure I had the bigger glove and my weaker hand, so all the other lads had more of a chance. So I was one arm sparring.
So do you think you naturally had that sort of appetite for it from seeing your dad fight, or did you feel like you had to prove something, or was it just you just fell in love with it from the start? Or
I've always loved like physical contact and being weak and bullied as a child, so it made me want to never have to have that feeling being a victim again.
Okay.
So I kind of was like decided I was going to armour plate myself in every way in any kind of physical challenge anyone put against me. I was going to go to.
I kind of had that same thing where I created this like big physical shield where, I went up to 22, 23 stone worth of muscle because I was bullied a lot when I was a kid. When did you first have your first experience with that, and how long did it go on with?
At school. Obviously, I was the third of three.
Okay.
So I wore big glasses, I was dead cheeky, gobby, being the youngest. So
did your brothers not put you in line before you got to school, or was it?
No, it didn't matter who put me in line. I'd still be there the next day. My kind of way was attrition. Like, you could beat me up every day, but every day I'll still be there.
You still keep coming back, still keep coming back.
I think that was just through being useless at everything. I just, my only way would be to front it out.
You weren't useless at everything though, because you started to develop a skill, even in rugby.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? You were a talented player.
But I started out, all I had was like physical commitment and aggression. I have to go through like a learning phase of like kind of honing that and then making that work for me.
Okay.
So I was hyper aggressive just through lack of actual like technical ability. So that I'd make up for that then with determination and just commitment. So
how much has that ever cost you anything? As in terms of, you say this relentless
that's
aggression.
That's why I look like Shrek.
No. Mate, I'm not much better, and I've not been hit in the face enough times. I just came out with these looks. But you say about this relentless sort of aggression, and we can call it enthusiasm or drive or anything like that. That can be quite overwhelming for people. Has it ever cost you an opportunity, if you know what I mean?
Big time, yeah. In the Marines as well. I was like labelled overzealous sort of thing. As I've got older, I've learnt to channel it in a correct way, where it's not like a million miles an hour all the time. But it's like something that is challenging for me with my personality, is that I am someone who does everything 100 miles an hour, everything to the best of my ability. So I've just had to find like pathways where it suits me and it suits what I'm doing. At rugby, it's like in the summer, people like running through things, I'd want to smash them in half. And be like, I can remember one of the first team captain, his name's Matt Chamberlain, he was like, why are you tackling me like that? I was like, if you don't want to get tackled like that, don't run at me. Yeah. It was just in the summer, just going through drills.
But it's like, there's always 0 to 100. There's no like in between. I'm surprised that didn't serve you more when you said that about. I was looking through some notes and I was doing this. You went to commando training centre at Royal Marines Lynston, but you were there in the end for like 10 years in total. Four-year first time round.
I was 4 years to get through training the first time, and then
how long should it take?
Should take 32 weeks, so 9 months if you don't get injured. But I got injured. I was only 16, so I had a very immature body. I didn't even have a leg hair when I joined the Marines. So
you were
fresh
into it.
And I just would not give in. They were kind of telling me like I was mentally getting through all the training, but wasn't taking it in. So I was like learning things just to pass the test, and then like not retaining it.
So you were hearing it and doing it, but you weren't conceptually like understanding it.
That's it. In the end, I got to the end of training, and then I had a bit of a misdemeanor and had to leave. And then
what was a misdemeanor? What was going on there?
I ended up beating up one of my training team. Because like I say, I was bullied again there, and then when I got my chance, I took it, and then obviously it backfired on me quite badly.
Is that not sort of like horse flavour comes anyway, right?
It does, yeah. I was quite young and it didn't get received very well.
Okay.
But,
so it didn't go down well.
I had to wait 10 years. To join again. So then I went through playing rugby. I played rugby at Rugby Lions.
I was going to say, this is what I mean. You did take it to high level.
Nottingham, I had probably...
Why didn't you stick with that?
I had 150 National League games.
Jesus.
So I played at a good standard. But then as soon as the opportunity come to get back in the Marines again, I was boxing for Neil Linford. Neil Linford was a massive influence. He got me back doing all the right things, because before I'd just turn up for sparring and then be off drinking and doing whatever I wanted to. Right. Yeah, whereas Neil changed sparring to Friday nights so that I couldn't go out being a dick.
Love that.
So like I did.
So he understood you better and sort of got to control this animal, if you know what I mean.
I did to Neil, and that drew me all in. And then I had the weekend of the the Midlands finals and national championships. I boxed in that. I lost by 1 point after being 12-1 down. I came back to lost 13-12 to a lad who had over 100 fights. So I'd got battered to start with and then ended up pulling it back. And then that weekend I went and did the PIMC, which is like the 3-day quaint that you have to pass. I did no training, no specific training for that, and I got the highest score I had that year. Jesus. And joined training 2 weeks later.
Without having trained specifically for it?
Didn't do any training for it at all. Just did.
What does it involve, that 3 days?
So there's like proper gym test, which is like you get told what you're going to do, but you don't get told you're going to get like juiced to probably the hardest people have ever been pushed, and then you go through like the endurance course, which is like a 6-mile course with tunnels and that.
Oh yeah, I read that one.
So basically it's just to test your determination, but I've done it before, so I just thought if I don't train and I turn up and I don't want to do it, then it's not there anymore. But if I find a way to get to the end, then it is.
Do you think there's any specific way to train for it in terms of a physical aspect? Because like you've said, I think a lot of your power comes from more of a mental thing. I imagine a lot of people have got enough physical conditioning if they've done similar sort of sports to the same level you have. But is it more the mental aspect where people are failing?
It's 100% a mental aspect. It's when it's that hard. Basically, on the first day you start out and you've got people who are fit or people who are less fit. By 3 days, everyone's exhausted, so everyone's kind of levels brought down to the same, and that's where they're looking then to see who are the people who want to carry on when it's shit. Because it's shit for everyone. So who's the one who wants to still go, who wants to still carry on? And over that 3 days, basically, kind of dictates how it's going to be over this 32 weeks of training. Because by the end of training, everyone is in that state where everyone's injured, everyone's knackered, no one's fit anymore.
Fitness is irrelevant.
Everyone's hanging out their arse. So it's who wants to carry on. How much do you actually want to achieve it? And if it's not something you think about every time you breathe, you ain't going to pass.
That's it.
It's just as simple.
How much do you find comfort when you're in a group like that? Because we talk about things like value of association, and you went through and eventually joined like 839 Troop, I think it was.
Yes.
Did you then feel like I'm a bunch of some savages now and I'm home, or did you still feel like an aspect of I didn't fit in, I needed more? Was there a big enough challenge even when you did it?
In the Marine, as soon as I passed out as a Marine, I remember being stood behind the curtain and the curtain opened out, and I had 2 court cases ongoing at the time. So I was thinking, is this going to be the last time I ever get to wear my uniform? Because I ended up in trouble again then. So that's what I mean. Until the last few years where I started boxing at a good level, I kept having these social slip-ups where I think I was still insecure and still in the mind frame of a victim.
Okay.
And still, so anytime I had to walk away from a situation, I had the same feeling as when I was being bullied before.
Well, you mean like you lost, or you're like, and it's another person beat me, it's another person putting me down.
Exactly that. So I've now had to change that to where I think if I ever react in that way, I'm now the bully, because I'm the one who's capable.
You've got a skill set.
With capability comes responsibility, and I 100%. Just think, whatever it is they're thinking in their mind is not what I'm thinking in my mind, and it's where
this situation can go.
I have to make the conscious decision to do what I'm going to do. So I now make the decision to just remove myself from the situation.
How much does it challenge to let go of that bit of pride when it's like that, though? Because you operate in a slightly different environment, because there's a lot of boxers out there that operate in sort of the standard, whereas yours, you do bare knuckle boxing, and we'll get into how this all sort of started, but that to me is a whole nother level of scary. So how do you still able to walk away from situations with the same mind frame as someone that can step into a bare knuckle boxing ring?
I take pride from walking away, and I think if I don't, then that's the bare knuckle boxing took from me.
Okay.
Because if you're someone who's spent your whole life learning how to do this certain thing and condition my body in a certain way where I can get into a professional bare knuckle boxing ring, what am I doing? Hitting Dave who's had a few pints, you know what I mean, from the pub. You're a total dickhead if that's the sort of thing you do. And I've just came full circle with it, where I just think I'm not the image in my mind that sometimes I can think I am when things happen, where I feel like that's not what I am anymore.
Do you think people still celebrate that image?
I think at the time it was to do with what boxing club I was at. Okay. The influences around me then, and still I was kind of using that to feed the side of me that I felt at the time needed it. Whereas now it's getting my.
What was that side?
It's like almost like.
You had to prove something, or
to myself, not to anybody else. It was like every time I was challenged, I would fight no matter what. If I was going to win, lose, whatever, I didn't care. Jeez. And I thought that was my way of trying to show I'm not a victim, I'm not weak. Whereas now I think it's strong to walk away. Because the people who are weak are the people trying to seek out this validation. Whereas I don't need that anymore.
Because otherwise, I
that
feel like
when I fight
you're like a tree in the wind, aren't you? And you're being affected by everything. Yeah. Whereas now you're more like, no, I know how good I am. I know my value. I know what I'm capable of. I don't need to be blown in the wind, and I have to prove myself every day.
Yeah. And I had to see, as part of my bail conditions for something that I did when I was in the Marines, I had to see a psychologist, and I went there just blasé, and she kind of said to me, these people seek you out because of their insecurities, so you react back violently because of yours. And that resonated with me, and since 2011 I've never had a fight which isn't like a proper fight without gloves on. So I've not since that one session with that woman, that totally changed everything, because I thought to myself, I can't live with thinking of myself as insecure anymore. So that's totally changed.
That is a massive mindset
changed
shift.
It of everything. So now I force
it's like your button was really exposed. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
The ability to walk over and go, watch this, and then you press it and you react immediately.
Yeah, big time. Yeah, and I wanted to. I was thinking,
and you're almost walking around going, go on, press it, see what happens.
If you think I'm a gimp, then I'll show you.
Press it, go on, and let's go self-destruct.
I couldn't understand why, and I was thinking, well, it's because of it's me what I'm giving out.
Yeah.
So I'm getting it.
You're attracted to it.
Whereas now I still get it now, but I just like I kind I kind of just laugh. Like my dad said to somebody in a pub one night, he was like, if you can't see what my son is, you shouldn't be out this late at night. Like, what you're doing is still out. You should be at home.
So when did you first start thinking that you wanted to go down a route of bare knuckle? Because that's...
When I was in hospital. So when I was with ulcerative colitis, I got told I
wanted to ask you about that, because that was... What the hell is that?
I got told I had 2 weeks before I had to have an operation. And I found out there was like a memorial show for Sticky Pratt, who sadly died, bless him. So he was like a local figure in boxing in Leicester. Yeah. So I found out he was having a memorial show. So I was in rehab in a Hasler company in the Marines. So because I was
physical rehab.
Yeah, because I was waiting for this operation. I contacted Neil. I was like, Neil, it's got 2 weeks before I have this operation. Can I fight in this last show? And he was kind of like, well, not really, but no, you shouldn't be fighting. But I said, it's going to be the last one I can do, so I don't care if I win or lose, I just want to do it. So
had you fought before that?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, not professionally, this was only amateur.
Okay.
So we got there on the day now, and the lads turned up, he's 6'7".
Jesus Christ.
The person who it was meant to be is pulled out. It's somebody from London, and he came down.
6'7"?
Yeah, he was massive.
What tall are you? You're
6'2". Just about 6'2". And anyway, so I had that as my last fight and managed to win, but I didn't win in a way that I was happy with at all. And Neil weren't either.
Well, you were 2 weeks prior. What was it? Ulcerative colitis. What is that for anyone that's not familiar with it?
So it's a chronic bowel disease. So where like the bacteria in your gut starts fighting each other. So it just like ulcerates. So I had to have a total bowel removal, which is like a 6-hour...
Bowel removal?
Yeah, full bowel removal. So I had to have a colostomy bag. So I've got a colostomy bag now. I'm the only person to have fought bare knuckle with a colostomy bag.
Well, most people would see that as something that they couldn't live a normal life, let alone get into physical combat where you're quite exposed. Do you not worry someone's going to catch and rip it off or like?
Well, you wear a fire protector over it, sort of thing. But beforehand, I did a lot. I've done so probably. I spent longer than needed, like conditioning the area, the area all around it. So I thought to myself, everyone's normal person, yeah, of course. Yeah. And that's how I managed to stop my last opponent. Because as soon as I seen him drop his back knee, I thought he was going for the bag.
Yeah.
So that's it. And I was just thinking, you must really think I'm an idiot if I'm going to get into.
If I'm not adapted to that.
If I've got this inherent weakness that I know everyone's going to go for, that all it's going to take is you took me that, and that's going to be me. Why would I be in there doing it?
Yeah.
I'm someone who wants to win, not someone who's turning up to take part. Do you know what I mean?
Do you think that them looking for that sort of actually puts them on the back foot because they're like,
oh,
I'm going to go for this because I feel like it's a weakness?
It shows what sort
of they wouldn't be willing to just stand toe to toe. They're
it
like,
shows
you've
what
got a
sort
weakness.
of character they are, and I've seen that. I don't want to disrespect anybody, but if that's what you're thinking straight away, I've got to look for a weakness instead of thinking I'll try and beat this man on his best day.
I hope he turns. Yeah, that's it. I hope he turns up on his best.
I want to beat him on his best day rather than think, oh, this is a little weakness here that I'm going to try and aim for. I don't think that about anybody, and I don't really even like. It's down to my coaches to research who it is I'm fighting. I don't even look myself. No. I just took the fight.
I hear a lot of that in the controllables aspect. You know what I mean? Like you can only do what you can do. Ryan's got to show up on the best condition. Don't be hoping. I hope this. I hope they've lost their last whatever fights.
Well, that's what I mean. They're turning up in that.
Can't control that.
They're turning up in that mentality. Where I'm turning up thinking I've got an operation in 2 weeks. This is probably the worst I'm ever going to be. I'm still going to get in and have a go. So how are they ever going to beat somebody when they're in the mentality of I'm totally fit. I hope this bloke's got some kind of weakness which is going to help me win. Whereas I'm thinking I shouldn't even be here. I'm going to get in and give it a go. Do you know what I mean? I can't see. This makes me laugh. It makes me laugh to look at people like that.
How do you use this sort of mindset now? Because I know, I'm meeting you today. You've got this intense sort of agitation, and like you constantly want to be on the go. How do you harness that in a day-to-day life? Because obviously, I know you're training people, but it must be quite difficult. I know my wife struggles with me, trying to be around me on a day-to-day basis because it's hard, and sometimes it can be quite lonely because you're always operating at such a high level.
That's it. Yeah. Well, I'm very lucky that my missus just allows me to be me. She kind of gets it. Yeah. And sometimes she'll just go to me, just a run or something. Yeah. Like, do you know what I mean? So she understands it and just allows me to be me because she's someone who before we were together had been a friend for a long time. So my thing is if I can come from where I was and where I thought I was in my own head to being able to do any of these other things, then if you're willing to apply yourself, then you can as well. And I literally believe there's not anything that anyone can't do if they're fully committed. If you're fully committed, it doesn't matter if it takes you to the last day of your life, you will do it. Yeah. And I found that just because I'm not physically gifted in any way, shape or form.
Well, you've had physical setbacks, let alone being gifted.
There's people physically stronger, fitter, whatever, but I just will not quit. And that's because I've found out through trial and error, if I keep going, I will win eventually. like find an excuse to win instead of an excuse to quit.
In the past sort of 18, 24 months, you've continued to push yourself. Where are you aiming towards now? Because you've got your own goals in your own physical fitness, let alone the client stuff.
Yeah, well, it all kind of started in lockdown, really. Off the back of, I sat in there and I was struggling to start with, like everybody else, and I was thinking, it's that now that people are going to be looking to their personal trainers, whether you're getting paid or not, you're a personal trainer. And I kept seeing all these influencers like moaning and crying about the gyms being closed, and I thought, you know what, I'm going to start living by example. Yeah, I set myself like a physical regime. I started, what I didn't used to be like keen on social media, and I thought I'm just going to keep putting it out, do a circuit every day, and that's how I got signed by BKB. I just kept sending the bloke, the owner, Jim Freeman, just kept sending videos of me training. He was like, all right, enough with the videos. I was like, I'll stop sending them when you sign me. And one day I sent him like 16 videos.
Isn't that like, a lot of people though don't have that relentless mindset.
Well, I've always been
just
that.
Like, oh well, I'll send it once or twice, and
I've always been that way. I was like, I've fighting this bare knuckle. Then I spoke to one of my friends, Paul Stredder in the Marines, and Jay.
Yeah.
Jay was like, message him. Like Jay was instrumental in it as well. Messaged Jim Freeman, so I added him, and then started bombarding him.
He's a good guy.
Started bombarding him with messages, and in the end, he succumbed.
What is it about bare knuckle though? Because I'm gonna just speak as an idiot member of the public who knows nothing about it. I hear bare knuckle, and some people think, so this is travellers fights.
Yeah.
This is Gypsy King style stuff.
No,
and it's scary. People think it's like it's not got rules and regs to it, which I know it has now. And there's definite federations to it. But what drove you to that rather than standard boxing?
Well, mate, when I found out it was actually a real thing and it was done for real, I thought I can't say I'm a boxer and not do this. And it's literally, honestly, I get excited just sat here thinking about it now.
I think more the hand damage though. I mean, I know obviously you get taking licks out of each other's heads, but the constant impact on the knuckles. So it sounds really stupid. When you say bare knuckle, is it hand bare knuckle, or do you wear wraps or?
So your hands are wrapped to like an inch below your knuckle.
Okay.
So just there. So it's just basically wrist support.
Yeah.
Yeah, my hands were all right. I think with it's a sport where people rely on being tough, rely on being aggressive. Whereas I just think I've had a lot of boxing experience. It's boxing with no gloves on, and if you can compose yourself in the thing, I think a lot of people are acting aggressive out of insecurity and out of lack of belief in their own skill. Whereas now I'm at a stage where I believe in myself now, so it's took the aggressive edge off for me, and I can kind of see things and react. Because
aggression's useful, but like when I hear you say that, I hear overstimulation. You know when you get overexcited about something and you're not paying attention anymore. You've gone a bit blurry and you've gone too excited. But like you say, you don't get that same when you step in a ring now or when you enter a fight. Do you find you don't actually mentally change gears so that you can keep?
I don't change at all. And the actual commenters said, "Oh, I look like I was buying a pint of milk." But I think I've done it that much. I've made that mistake where I've been over aroused, and every time I've done that, I've lost.
Over-aroused,
every time I've done that, I've lost. So in the times when I've been, I can't even remember what happened in the fight. Was I can tell you the smell in the arena.
Really?
The last one where I was just so calm. I've done this a million times. Whatever happens, happens. I'm not even bothered about the result. I'm about getting in there and do what my coaches have told me. Like, I couldn't have my coach there because Rendell was a professional boxing coach. So he can't be seen to be cornering someone in a professional bare knuckle. So I just had my friend.
Is it still frowned upon in that?
Kind of, yeah. And he's obviously got professional.
Why though? Because you get checked out and still look after each other.
Rendell's got commitments to his other professional fighters who they came before me. So I kind of sort him out because I thought he's somebody who's going to help me, is like a thinking fighter instead of just being what I can. If to me, I'd be letting myself down now if I get in there and just go nuts like I used to. What's it all been for? What's the Marines been for? I'm just going to react in the same way. So now my thing is putting myself in the same environment where previously I would have panicked and just gone nuts aggressively, and challenging myself, get in there and just relax, just do what you've now made yourself into. Like
I had a fighter talk to me
calm under fire
a few months ago, and they said about something called thinking aerobically. I don't know if you've ever heard of it. It really surprised me when they said it because it was a totally mindset. You know when you think about exercise like aerobic, anaerobic, and sprinters and all this stuff, and he says, look, anaerobic fighters, he says, is exactly exactly what you say there. They says like they hold their breath and they just. He says, but aerobic thinking, it's like you lift your mind out to a different level. And he says, you're not holding your breath, you're not nothing. Nothing changes. And that when you said that, it just hit me straight back to that guy there.
I just think if you take away the fact that you're having a fight, that's the only part about it that people are daunted by. Yeah, you've got no gloves on, so what? It's still boxing. So if you're...
You didn't want to get punched when there was gloves on, so you don't want to get punched when there's not. Anyway, so
if you're trying to land and not get hit, it doesn't matter you ain't got gloves on, does it? Yeah. So my thing is, I don't want to get hit, but if I do, who cares? You know what I mean? So what? I've been in the Royal Marines, getting a bloody nose or a cut eye didn't matter when I could have got one straight through the nut. Do you know what I mean? What does it matter? Yeah. It doesn't matter.
But looking back across this, man, people hear bare knuckle, they hear surgery, they hear Marines. I mean, there's elements of people like David Goggins just screaming out through all aspects of this. What advice would you give to people, like when you work with your clients, people that are going through a surgery or people that, maybe someone that's looking to join the Marines from your experiences? It's taken you 10 years when you went through the process. What advice would you give to some of the lads? And I know you've successfully trained people to join, right?
Yeah.
Have you had 3 or 4?
3 or 4, yeah.
Yeah.
So one of my good friends from the gym, he joined our boxing gym at 13. Kit Looms, he's getting ready to go on pre-deployment to go to Iraq now.
Jesus.
So all it is just preparing yourself for when it's tough. Just carry on. If you want to be there at the end.
And how can people get in contact with you?
You can get in contact with me over Instagram or Facebook.
Because you do some serious tabs and all that sort of. You're actually out there doing it.
I do stuff with them, because I think to be what I'm saying I am, I've got to show people.
You've got to live it.
Yeah, and I think people need to be taken out of their comfort zone. And if you're just saying do this and do that, they need to be shown that when you want to give in, that's when the game starts. When you feel like quitting, that's when it begins, really. And that's what Marines training is. To get to that point where you want to give in every day and you have to get up and decide every single day to carry on. It's about deciding to carry on instead of deciding you're going to find a way out. If you want to do it, you'll find a way. If not, you'll find a way out.
I think that says so much about the time that we're in now as well, with being resourceful. Do you know what I mean? During this pandemic and stuff, for people that have decided, this is the end, are the ones that have made that decision. And you speak about this daily decision.
Yeah. More so than daily. It's to get up, like to get here this morning. You had to decide last night in bed this morning, get up or stay in bed, and it's that over and over. 82% of every internal dialogue's negative. So I just see it as a negative thought comes up there, you have to put a positive one straight in front of it, and that's difficult to do. But if you do that, that's the way that you progress on successfully. Whereas if you don't, you just let these negative thoughts gather up, and it's like a snowball rolling downhill over you. You just then become totally negative.
I always think a bit like the aspect of falling dominoes as well, because you said they're about decision to decision. I always talk to people about this thing called like activation energy, whereby you get that negative thought comes up, and it's like a domino that's tipping and tipping and tipping. You've got like 5 seconds, like this morning. You're getting out of bed, you're like, I'm getting out, and you've got to get up and stop the domino from falling. And every single time, because if you don't, you like lie there, and then you're like, and you stay in bed.
Every single time you do, it makes it easier to do.
Makes it easier to do.
This is why in lockdown.
But if you miss one,
it
tips, and then the next one, then the next one. It makes it so much harder. It's got to be every moment.
So I was in lockdown. I was getting up and running at 4 every morning. Everyone was like, "Why?" I was like, "Because it's shit. Because I don't want it." So every time I get up and do it, now I'm boosted all day. I'm thinking I've done something not probably 1% of people have done today, and that's it. Then every time you make,
I do the same with that ice bath.
Yeah, you make a little win. Yeah,
people are like, what are you doing?
I'm worried about that. But every time you do something that you don't want to do, you get like this boost. And it's hard to explain unless you've done it. But if you make yourself a little thing like, say, getting up and making your bed in the morning,
100%.
Then the first thing you've done, you've ticked off. That's a win already. Then say, I'm going to have people say, I can't eat protein in the morning. I'm going to have eggs. Make yourself eat. Yeah. And then it's another thing done. Don't matter if you like it or not. Eat the food.
And I always say to people, like with alcohol,
as simple as that.
You didn't like alcohol the first time you had it.
Yeah.
Unless it was like some sugary filled alcohol pop, and people are like, well, my first time I had beer, it was horrible. And I'm like, yeah, but you muscled through, didn't you? You were like, I'm going to keep going because you wanted to fit in. You get up and you say, I don't like eating protein, or I don't really like water, or I don't like hydrating. I'm like, nobody does when they start. Nobody does. You got to condition yourself.
So it comes down to that. If your goal is this, and you say, I don't want to eat this food, you don't want to achieve your goal. Then as simple as that. Find a way, and it's you can adjust that to anything, to absolutely anything. There is a way. And there's a way now in lockdown, there's a way, whatever's going on. It doesn't matter what circumstances, external circumstances are. You decide what you want to do, regardless of what's going on.
And you're going to have to be resourceful.
Regardless of what's going on outside your front door.
Yeah. And that's exactly what you say about the opponents as well. It's control the controllables. You can't control what's going outside your front door.
You could do whatever.
You can't control the weather, you can't control COVID, but you can control yourself. And then ironically, when you get the opportunity, if you've not conditioned yourself, you're going to fail anyway. But like you've said, if you're getting up at 4 a.m. or if you get in a flipping an ice bath every day, there's very few other things that are going to rock you that day.
And as well, I just think, like, purely speaking back to that, if you're looking at something else about somebody else, you're already in the wrong mentality. All
your focus is going on them.
It should be on you. I'm ready. I don't care what happens. I can get through this. I don't care. Yeah. So regardless what you are, I know what I am. So you bring your best, I'll bring mine. Let's have it out.
And that's always going to be your 100%. It's irrespective of what they bring to the table.
Yeah, I just think to myself, you know what? If you want this, you have to really want it to beat me.
Awesome, love it. And just people want to get in contact with you to help sort of shift levels, whether it's joining the Marines, whether it's their own sort of boxing training, or just changing levels because they're struggling with something in life. What's the best way to get in contact with you?
You can contact me on Instagram, which is the Cockroach BKB.
Where did the cockroach come from?
You can't kill a cockroach.
I thought it was that. You can cut them in half, you can surgery, do you know what I mean? You can stick them under floorboards and the things just keep on coming back.
You can't kill a cockroach.
Awesome, brother. Thank you for coming in today, my man, and stay hard. I'll see you soon.
All right, pal.
Oh, man. Well, folks, that was my conversation with Ryan Barrett. Pretty incredible, right? I really enjoy the curveballs that the podcast presents, delving into enough areas of the emergency services to truly demonstrate those incredible mindsets that push people, that teaches them habits, behaviors to better themselves, and when in the line of duty, protect everybody. Since recording the podcast, Ryan is in fact having a British title fight, Holmes versus Barrett, March 27th, 2021. You can find out more by going to www.bkbworld.co.uk. Go and give Ryan some support, an incredible guy and hell of a mindset. And from the podcast and myself, we wish him every success, not that he needs our help. I hope you enjoyed that one. I hope you took a lot from it. Thanks for coming back. Stay happy, stay healthy, stay hungry, look after each other, and we will see you again real soon right here on the Firefighters Podcast.